There should be. Let me see if I can share audio.
You can click through if you want to see the news. I'm gonna go to the washroom.
Okay. See you soon. Okay, share the entire screen. Mic mode, standard, voice isolation. Oh. Is there a way to share? Oh, maybe this is a Jitsi thing. We're trying to figure out if we can share audio.
Oh, we were testing on this mic.
Oh, like from the music into so from the computer.
Hold on, I'll ask Allison.
Yeah, but let me see. I feel like this might be a Mac situation. So, hello, welcome. Oh. Yeah. Hello. Oh dear.
Well, it looks like
Yes, we are learning so much. Yeah. Oh, whoops. Wait. Whatever Sapphire said, you missed it. Oh, Sapphire, were you saying something? Yes, we were just trying to figure out if we can have music in this room and in the virtual room. And I think we have to choose, so we chose ourselves. Did we choose ourselves or did we choose a virtual phone? We're not sure what we've chosen. Yeah. Hey, when I don't know. Uh, Boop. Is it better? Amazing. All right. I feel like folks will probably meander in over the next couple of time, but we can sort of start getting into our introductions, and then as people roll in and fold in, we'll we'll mix and mingle. How does that feel for everybody?
Just there.
Amazing. Okay. Also, join the camera. Awesome. So, welcome everybody, virtually and in person, to our virtual garden research and creation showcase. This is our first showcase. So, you're going to see a lot of our works in progress, our experimentations. Please ask any questions, jump in whenever. We're very excited to have this conversation with y'all. So, please join us, join us in this sharing. And yeah, I think we can jump right into our introductions.
Yeah.
Also, this is very open and easy, so if you need to like use the bathroom or anything, we're recording as well, so you can come back and just jump in, ask a question, or raise your hand, whichever is most accessible to you. I will introduce myself first. My name is Kweku for the purposes of this presentation. Sometimes Kobena, depending on the day. And I am an anti-disciplinary artist, and so I like to play around with different forms. Um, and my foundational craft is witchcraft, and so a lot of my art sort of works with mediumship, spirits, and communicating between beyond the realms. uh, I am doing a bit of the creative exploration on the digital side of this project. I mean, we're all on the digital side of this project, but I play with the Garden app and some of the other things that we might be exploring in the future. And I will pass it over to you.
Hello, my name is Anélia. I am a mixed media textile artist. I'm the little character in the red.
Oh,
And you're the ghost.
I'm the ghost.
And yeah, so I do a lot of work around like textile, nature, farming, growing, and kind of like meld everything together. I have a really big affirmation for like the physical aspects of like tech work and all that. So I love building stuff. And yeah, what brought me to this project honestly was just like Sapphire just texting me one day, just being like, "Hey, do you want to hop on a call with me and this person named Kobena that you were in an exhibition with?" And I was like, "I was." And I was like, "Sure." And when we were talking about from groundscape to what it is today. I was very excited to be a part of it. And yeah, and I met Sapphire a year ago through one of my projects and got to meet them, got to chat with them, and the bond has been strong. And yeah, up to you, Sapphire.
Yeah, and we're gonna do a little bit of storytelling in this first bit as we wait for more people to trickle in because there is so much. Oh, wait, no, previous slide still. Because I think to what Sapphire was saying just about our connections to gardens, we all kind of have like a different connection to the idea of a garden, but I came to this project because I think Sapphire showed me their project on Groundscapes, and I was just like, this looks so amazing. And immediately my mind was like running a mile a minute because I've never seen a cool project I haven't wanted to like contribute to. And I think from there, we've come quite a bit of a ways, but since we started like having these conversations, I feel like I've just gotten to really appreciate the ways that so many different people are kind of yearning for the living world and in the ways that it feels a bit inaccessible sometimes. I myself come from Ghana, and so right on the equator, things are growing every day. We don't have winter. I take plants for granted. I take fruit trees for granted. And it wasn't until like I left for the first time and I like went to a place where at some point in the year, most things are kind of hibernating, that I really got to appreciate I think the difference in like just green space or outside, needing to have a different relationship to outside at different times. And so between then and now, we've also connected with another platform, also called Garden, coincidentally. And we even make jokes about the Garden of Eden because I think there's something so beautiful about that image of just like being surrounded by lush greenery. And yeah, that's, I think, also when we connected with Anelia and just like seeing all of your amazing work, which hopefully you'll talk about right now.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's been very interesting to kind of see how garden from like the real world and the virtual world like just works together. And so just like just seeing how like all the knowledge that even all three of us have, and then like having it and putting it into the space that we have, it's nice to see how this like archive is like slowly building. And a lot of my work just like revolves around just like archiving these like knowledges, these recipes, these stories that we like all share intimately, but like how does that get passed along, and how does that basically get to like a next generation, and how those traditions and rituals like manifest themselves and also just grow. And so like yeah, gardening to me like a lot of things, but a lot of it is like connection and community and that connection to land and just revolving around just all of that.
Yeah. Also, everybody can hear us well. Do we, should I connect this? Will it do something? Oh, okay, there's no echo. Um, I think we dive into the meat of the presentation, or should we allow folks a few more minutes? Do folks have any questions? Do folks have any thoughts? Is there anything more that people would like to know about how we all know each other? What we're about to show you. I think also there's something just really beautiful about coming together into this virtual garden. That is the dream. That the virtual garden will be pretty much a hangout space where you can connect with plants, learn about them virtually, but also, maybe take some of that into your IRL garden spaces. Oh, whoops, I cannot hear you. Yes.
You're not letting me go. That's a good question. Wow.
You're the expert. You know what? I can start as you think.
Yeah, you
Because
start.
I don't have like the most gardening experience. However, when I want to say I was younger than 10, we had a little garden in the flat we lived in. When I recently brought it up, my dad said that he was the one who brought the idea, but my mom is the one who's always growing stuff, so I tend to believe that like it was mostly her effort. I remember we grew carrots and we had quite a bit of green space where we lived then. So there was a plantain tree. We grew spinach. I hated that spinach. I think we might have grown cucumber, watermelons. And since then, wherever we've lived that has green space, there's always some fruit tree going. And I will say I've generally taken that for granted. I lived on my own for like 3 years in Accra, away from my parents' home. And I had like these plants in pots, and most of them died because I was never at home. And in that time, I think there was something about like again taking access to plants in other places for granted, where I was like, well, these plants don't need to survive. Where now I have like little plants in my apartment, and they've struggled through this winter, but I every day I'm like, guys, guys, we have to do this together. So that's been my garden journey.
Yeah, sometimes it takes a while for like the plants that like you care for to just like be alive. It does. It takes a while to have to like to do it, especially in winter. Winter's
Yeah.
hard. Winter's really hard. Um, I met Sapphire through a friend, and I was in the middle of interviewing for one of my projects, which I was basically archiving like queer Caribbean herbal stories, and I was interviewing folks about their stories and the like recipes that they all had. And then one friend was just like, "Oh, I have this other friend. They're in Montreal. They're really cool. I think you're gonna get along with them." And then like passes me Sapphire, and then Sapphire and I talked for like 2 hours online. And then eventually, I think it was the day before the I'm presenting in Halifax, like my solo show, and then Sapphire's like, "I'm coming." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool, yeah, so whatever." And then literally they were there like on opening day. And basically like the project was like I was casting folks' bodies parts, and then I was also like archiving a lot of like these Caribbean recipes, especially around like queer Caribbean folks and how does that look like to be passed around. And it was just like bringing the garden in very like in an unexpected way, so like putting it in a place where it's like not somewhere people would know that would be, and especially like understanding that the relationality between like your body and the earth, and like how does that like simultaneously work together. And also just like these movements of like when I was casting people's like they were in such different like positions and like and movement. So it's like also based on like what recipes works for like that ailment, that body part, and all this stuff. And so all of it kind of just like works together to like see how the earth like kind of just passes on this knowledge onto us. And also just like yeah, this connection of connecting with all of the people that like I interviewed or casted, just like having this continuous like all these years later, still having that connection with that.
Yeah, and we'll show you some beautiful pictures of some of the things described here at a later point. But I really like what you're saying as well about like the connection between like not just the garden as this thing that's over there, but like every single whenever I'm around trees, my first and maybe this is very like selfish of me, but I'm always like, what can I eat here? Because I'm so used to like growing up around mango trees and knowing when mango season is, or like, just trees having at least the plants that are close to me having a direct relationship in my life. And so, like, a lot of the gardens that are in my parents' homes are gardens that we're eating from daily. And I've kind of taken that, like, again, I took that for granted. Whenever I'd go back and my mom would have like a cinnamon tree or a fennel, fennel plants, I'll just be like, oh, they're here. I guess just pluck them whenever. And then I came to Toronto and you have to go to Fresco to get any of these things. Actually, not Toronto, Brampton, because in Toronto you can go to different stores.
Yeah.
But I like even just seeing the price of like a little thing of fennel and then remembering waking up every day and plucking fresh fennel for like eggs and just being like, I don't even, it doesn't matter. It's just here. I think the next time that I see fennel growing live outside, I don't know that I'll be able to have that same just like ease, which I think I do kind of miss being able to take like the natural world as just given. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm. Yes. So I think I've had this conversation actually with quite a few people. And in our conversations, we've often talked about, like, for me, just that shift of like access to plants, to like fruit trees everywhere. And even in those conversations, I've learned that there are in fact fruit trees in Toronto if you know where to look. And that's also one of the things sort of that we're coming to understand, because that understanding is also mediated by technology. And so, like, I think when I first saw Sapphire's like Groundscapes project, I was so struck by like just it reminded me of I had some cousins come visit when I was back in Ghana, and took them around my parents' house, showed them a coconut tree, showed them a mango tree, and they could not tell the difference between them. And that like blew my mind. But then I came here, and as I walk around, the city, there aren't enough trees, or at least I don't think there's enough of a, I don't know if the word is access or understanding for folks to really have that. And maybe also it's the type of plant, but I feel like there's a way that for me growing up and having this ongoing relationship with plants, I learned to like identify them and see them as kin, such that if I'm in a random place and I see a cassava plant, I don't only see a cassava plant, but I'm like, oh, the people here eat cassava. The people here grow cassava. The people here have an ongoing like connection to cassava. And I think that's one of the things that our virtual garden is kind of hoping to also evoke, that there's all of these different connections between not just the existence of like plants and our love for them, but also plants that we care about, and not to say we don't care about some plants and we care about others, but that we are building and developing this relationship to these things in our gardens. And so like for me, this also kind of goes deeper into like my witchcraft practice, because a lot of that is connecting to spirits, and as embodied spirits, I think there's a lot of ways that whenever I think about that, I think about how everything kind of has a spirit in it, and plants especially have a life that is different from like animals, human beings, if you want to make that distinction. And it can be very easy, I think, at times to forget or just dismiss that like plants are also living full lives. They have children, they have relationships, they're having conversations with us and beyond us. And their role and their functions in our ecologies are something that I think if you grew up with and you are kind of in that type of community, it is easy to take for granted. But then when you don't, it's also easy to take for granted that like that's just not the way that life is. And like for me, a part of this project is bridging that gap and just allowing people to cultivate that spiritual relationship to like other life forms, appreciate that like a tree is truly your kin, like the trees close to you are your friends. You can go talk to them. You can hug them, and also preserve that for other folks, to like other folks in the future, but also just folks around, to be able to like um not just experience but also like develop that connection however they can. Yes. Not yet. Ooh, okay, something has changed. Yes, yes. Ooh.
Mhm.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like what's so interesting about having like the garden in real life and in virtual is just like, yeah, in real life when you are starting out, there is so much to learn, but it's like, yeah, you need that access to the virtual space to understand like what is happening in your like natural space. So like yeah, I've been farming for like about 5 years now, I think.
Mm.
Um, and a lot of the things that I grow or plant is just everything to do like cultural plants or native plants to here. But a lot of the knowledge that I learned of these plants was virtually and also just like talking to community, learning about it, and getting to know about all these different plants and how to do it. And the thing about gardening in unconventional places is that like it is very hard to obviously garden in a space when it is like a big city like Toronto. We have a lot of buildings, we have all these things. And so getting access from a community garden um to any of those spaces to grow does take years to do. And so a lot of people choose very different ways to start their own garden. It's either you started in the apartment complex, you just go and just do it. A lot of people do a lot of guerrilla farming or guerrilla gardening where they'll just see a patch of land that hasn't been used for a long time and then like you just go and throw and start growing seeds. And I know a lot of people that started doing that. At my workplace, we grow on like a patch of land that is part of a church, and they just never used the grass. It was just grass, and someone was just cutting it for years. And someone was like, "Can we just grow food for a community?" And they were just like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." Um, and so there's all these ways to like being creative, like to grow and to start to grow. Um, where it's just like you have to kind of like think about like, okay, like is someone using that? If someone's not, can I ask? Can I just do it? And you find these very like unconventional ways of growing. And then also just like with Sapphire's work with Groundscape, it's just it is a very like new space and very unconventional because it's like you are entering this realm where you are learning about these plants. You are seeing a bench where it does kind of starts this like relationship, as you even said, Kobena, like with these plants. It's like you are taking these baby steps to learn it, and even if it's like you need to learn it like in your room and just being like I saw this plant outside, like what is this? And it's just like you can like be in a virtual space and to just be able to be like, oh okay, like now I know what this is, and like now I know how to interact with it. Now I know this is safe to consume, this is not safe to consume.
Mm.
um so that kind of just like, yeah, like it shows to like breed knowledge towards folks where like this knowledge is it's hard to get access to.
Yeah. And I also want to just shout out the internet in general. Just, living in the internet era, I think is one of the things that currently, personally, I take for granted. But just this conversation around like being able to access both the knowledge and like an understanding of the natural world that we do have right outside is so like integral and is also allowing us all to be together now. So yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So we have a very, very exciting presentation beyond this very exciting conversation for y'all. So we're gonna start kind of showing you where we are right now. We'll play a little bit with the platform that we're using, which we're very, very thankful to like the garden space, which there's another garden built in Gathertown. And we're using some of that space to build our own garden and sort of prototype we we how we want to play with bringing a garden into the virtual platform. And then as we're playing with that, hopefully we'll get some suggestions from y'all. And then we'll move the conversation into the future of where we're trying to take this project, because there's quite a few different conversations we've had about one, where the project lives, because it being virtual is great in some ways, but then also, in some other ways, there's some limitations, and our desire is for it to be not just virtual on a device, but also perhaps virtual that you can experience in other ways, maybe off a device, and perhaps even connected to a physical space, and having those two kind of be in conversation with each other. And so we'll show you some of the things that we're thinking about to maybe bring those, to make those happen. And again, chime in at any time. Please, please share all of your thoughts, and all of your questions. All right. Anybody?
This is a thought that I'm gonna like spin out, but I was gonna just say like, um, it's really cool to have a virtual garden. I really struggle with like kind of taking in 3D virtual space, it kind of makes me like nauseous to like be there. So I guess I was just like, oh, like maybe like having like very what is it called? Like kind of structured views where it's like you don't change the camera as much, but it would be a little bit more accessible for motion sickness.
If you wait for 1 second, our current prototype is a 2D. It's a 2D virtual space that kind of has a Pokemon aesthetic. And so it does have just one view. And we are thinking about like 2D, 3D, how do we sort of play with what the experience, the visual, but just other experiences of the garden are. So maybe, I don't know if we're getting to that immediately, immediately. Is that what's, yeah. Ooh, yes.
Yeah, because I too also get like a little nauseous with like 3D stuff, but the platform that we use, like Gather, and then the space that we're in Garden, it does just it's like yeah, you are just like your character and you're just like walking around, and so it's kind of nice because it's just like overview, and so you just see your little character go around. So the nausea is eliminated. That-
No, no. You can zoom in and you can zoom out, and I think that's it.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then that's like a screenshot of like the space,
Oh,
which is it's a smaller here, but
yeah. Is it possible? Oh, that's on my screen. Is it possible to like zoom into that little screenshot? But also, I could do quick little share, quick little screen share. Um, okay. Screen sharing, share entire screen. Do. Because our participant has to dip, but so this is the platform. Um, yeah, like you're kind of it is limiting in some ways, but it's also super powerful in like allowing you to do a lot of like really cool things. And it's also like this is the garden world, and so it's a social space. This is my little office. And we'll take you all into the garden a bit, but I just wanted to kind of give a little preview, if you will. Um, yes, absolutely. Welcome. All right. Okay.
back to you, Sapphire.
Over to you.
Oh,
Yeah. We got it.
yeah, we got it. Okay, never mind. Not back to you because yeah.
Okay, can y'all see? Okay, yes, you can. All right.
Okay, so this is Arena. Arena. Let me just see.
Right. You click the thing, magic.
No,
My
dude.
bad.
Okay, so Arena, like RE.NA. It's a website basically that you can use to save, collect items, collaborate with other people. So if you're ever building a project or like if you have an idea, you can sign up for Arena and then like you can basically drag and drop like screenshots, websites, all the stuff. So this is the platform that we've been using to research our project and kind of get the footing of like where we are now. And if like anybody that's online, if you if you're a black person, you can like go to what's it like Blacks of Arena. They have like a whole archive of like different um yeah, like from movies to like music to like all these different things and events. And you can like connect with other people as on Arena. All right, so then these are the blocks that we all put in. Um, So, for example, this was something that we saw online, which is an inspiration of like a modified Sims room where this person kind of like made this like gathering space, which was really cool. Let me go next. Um, this was also a resource that we found called Tuvalu. Tuvalu is a country right now that is going through a climate crisis. Um, they're not going to be here in a few years because of like raising water levels. So the country currently right now is digitizing the whole nation. And so like all of their practices, all of their information, they are starting to like build like a digital world. So to kind of like preserve the country itself. And so this was kind of also a very great space to understand like how to create like this like natural world digitally. Kobena and I did a little field trip together. We went to Gallery TBW, and they were doing a exhibition on some recipients in like media art. So a lot of folks were doing work around space, around digital, around like using controllers. So we got to see like everyone's work, and it kind of gave us an idea of like how extended reality works and how could possibly in the future this can help with like our project in like a setting. This is also resources that Kobena sent to us about building maps in Gather Space. So this was actually really great. This is a screenshot of ground space that Sapphire got to show us. Their beautiful project. So which is basically like the groundbreaking of what this is. Also, more online research. We got to see online more links work on extended reality of kind of showing like the natural world in a gallery space, which was really cool. So something much of an inspiration that we really enjoyed.
Wait, no, I really am hoping that we're able to also do something like that, like kind
Yeah.
of do a digital projection, 3D AR, into like an actual room.
No. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
I think it'd be really no, it would be really cool to do because it's like, yeah, to see like how like in a room you can just transform the space itself.
Yes.
This is a beautiful a video of the full moon. Just
Yeah.
real life being like just captured online. Let's look it up. Summertime awaits for all of us.
Uh,
This is a piece of corn that I grew last year. This is a very, really interesting article, Beyond Crisis, Finding Beauty and Purpose in the Climate Future. Uh, Something definitely to go to read and kind of understand like where we are and what the future of our climate looks like. More research on map platforms and like how we build different maps. Also, alternatives to Gather.
yeah.
Gather isn't our endpoint, but like just our beginning. And so, if we do have our space more in public, it's like, what does that look like if Gather can't host? So, these were also three different platforms that were interesting into exploring. Sapphire, I know you put these in.
Oh, that was me. Oh.
And this is like another.
Mm.
Mm,
Ooh.
mm,
This is one of the platforms that we're thinking about playing with. Sorry,
yes.
go on, Sapphire. Yeah, and this is an application that I'm currently learning. It does projection, and one of the things that we're really hoping that this can do for us, also locally based in Toronto, so pew pew pew. Um, but we're really hoping to be able to do some cool interactive things, which, I think there's a lot of different technologies that we are currently exploring and playing with, in this project to try to sort of create that bridge between, if you can't go outside, but you need to have that mango tree, you can't necessarily pluck a mango, but oh, maybe you can actually.
Yeah.
Let me not limit our possibility. But yeah.
These two works are works I did last year. So this was kind of like bringing an unconventional garden to basically a space that is the gallery space. This was solidarity seeds, and so we were bringing in like different plants into the space. And also talking about the relationship between like farm labor and land and how that all convenes itself together. This was the work that Sapphire and I met at. This was like Healing the Garden, back in Halifax. So these are like parts of the bodies that I casted. And then around a lot of the bodies, there was like different plants that heal parts of it. And yeah, this was a fun project. And then
Amazing. Okay, I think, where do we go from here? On share. Okay.
I think we
Yeah, so I'll start with the anti-disciplinary bit because I think, as you've seen, our project kind of moves between so many different mediums, so many different spaces. And I've been meditating on the term anti-disciplinary. I think I got that from Sylvia Winter, who sort of talks about, like, if we are to decolonize knowledge, what would that look like? And some of the things that she presents is that it looks like, um, destroying the current way that we think about, geology, history, geography as these boxes of information, and allowing the things that we actually know, the ways that these things inform each other, to actually inform what knowledge looks like in the future. And I think that is very much what this project is. Like, how do we bring something that, thinking about the Tuvalu, archiving their entire country, um, that conversation is about them losing sovereignty, because when you don't have a country, how do you stay a nation? How are they able to transform that into the future? That requires tools, understanding knowledges that we currently aren't necessarily practicing, or at least practicing a lot. Clearly, Tuvalu is like figuring that out. And how do we bring our creativity to bear in sort of mixing and matching and creating what we need for the future, creating the tools, that we want to take us into whatever future awaits us, just based on the things we're experiencing now. And so, I think I'll do a little demo here. Is this the demo piece? Um, Mm. Oh,
Oh,
wait, is it the fruit map?
yeah, it is a fruit map.
Where that is?
Where did it go? Hmm.
Don't know what that is, but let's.
Oh no,
No.
we can't see it. We can't see it for some reason.
Yeah, Map.to is not. Oh no, but as in we're not finding it in the arena. But we will load it up live and demo it for you guys because I am very excited for this map. This year I will be foraging based on this map. I think everybody should be because you get fruits, you know where the apples are, the berries are. Is it like every fruit tree?
Mine was like,
Okay, let's do a little screen share 1 second.
oh, you have to move this.
My yes. Ooh.
Yes. So this is like a really great understanding of like why it's important for like our project to kind of digitize like plant knowledge. And so map.to kind of provides you a map of like all the different fruit trees in Toronto, and then you can filter by, oh my goodness.
Oh, this looks so delicious already.
I know. What?
Wait, what are we looking for?
Trying to filter by.
Oh,
Oh, there we go. Filter by month. So, and then you can see by color code like what month like something is in bloom. So like June, for example, there's like cherries. July, you'll see cherries, you'll see plums. And as you go, and so it's kind of like passing on this knowledge of like what is growing for free here in Toronto. And then it's just like, as we know, it's just like there is kind of some sort of bureaucracy of knowing of like how food is so like politicized, where it's like it's not accessed immediately. So something like this gives like kind of us a good background of like knowing like when we create like our garden space, on how we can give access to those of like, okay, like yeah, this does grow here and this is how you can access it through this time. And then like why is it important to access this vegetable or just fruit or to forage during this time, because this is like the best time you can get these nutrients and all this stuff. And also just understanding like, yeah, here in Toronto and even in Montreal and different places here in North America, it's like our growing season is so short. And so a lot of times it's like by the time it's like August or September, you are saving a lot of those foods to freeze, to puree, to do all that for the winter. And a lot of different people do different ways of doing that. So this is very like a good basis of like of understanding of how like the like virtual and archiving this information is. And then it's just yeah, you can just go into like any neighborhood that you are close to, that is near you, and it's providing all of that in your backyard,
and these fruit trees are accessible and free.
accessible and
Yes.
free.
Okay. You can just go find the intersection, find the tree,
Boom.
get you some fruits. And this also reminds me of like just all the news that's been coming out about Pokemon Go, like the way that it was encouraging people to go places and do stuff, but just farming their data, which I think that's also a part of the accessibility piece for me of like trying to like find spaces and connect with folks who are like doing work that is not okay, you already put it in the chat. That is like not trying to like take advantage of people and exploit them. Like when I look at that fruit trees of Toronto, that's free fruit that you can go get. And nobody's asking you to like film it and, use that to train their machines. Um, but I think in that's also one of that is one of the bridging things between like our project and uh, the platform we chose. I came upon Garden. I don't know why I stopped sharing my screen because it's still us. Allowed to share screen. I found this platform because I connected with the folks who were managing this particular space. I had never used Gather before, and like the first time I saw it, I fell in love just because it is such a I love the aesthetic. It reminded me of like a lot of video games I used to play in middle and high school, emulated NES things. And in it, there's also like a video and audio feature. And this space in particular was created, I believe, in 2022, during lockdowns when a lot of disabled folks were just unable to go outside and connect with each other. And that's sort of largely um, still the goal of the space, to sort of create this place that is accessible for folks who are not able to like connect outside one way or another. And so of course like it was it the this entire space is, I think, such a great inspiration for our own project. And I'm gonna take us into our little where our current garden is. 5 stars. Which this is our current map. We're playing around with all of the different things in this, but this, I think, being able to navigate the space, being able to like transform it and change it and create a lot of interactivity, which I don't know if any of these elements are interactive yet. However, actually, yes, I already have the link. I will take you through just a little creation moment, which I think when you're using the app and you have all of the building access, you are able to, that's not a good space to put some plants. Let me see, let me see, let me see. Okay, I think this is a nice patch to plant some Crenshaw melons. So I think one of the things, the app itself has some objects that you can place. And so, ooh, I actually cannot see the chat right now. But if folks, Sapphire, if folks suggest items to put in the garden, please let me know. Um, we have, we have a bar, there's we'll definitely put some benches though. I think it's missing a bench or two for folks to sit on. Bench. Ooh, I love this one.
It's
It's a tiny
giving
little bench.
it's giving Japan with the red bridge.
Yeah, it's a nice little entryway. But one of the things we really loved about this platform as well has been being able to bring in our own. Oh, okay, now I have to do 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 do. Technology plants. All right. Is being able to bring in our own different like plant elements as well, because it's quite limited in what they give you. But also, whoa, what's happening? Whoa. Whoa. Wait a minute. Do. Grr. Okay, this is gonna be a little tricky. Just because. Okay, no, that's not true. No. We got this. Upload new object. Amazing.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So we're able to bring in our own our own plants and kind of just make little patches and create this like I don't like the way that they're layering. Ah, that's fine. Sort of create our own little garden beds. And I think the process of like scanning the images that we want to use and sort of finding the correct perspective, there's a lot of like artistic choice in how we're able to craft the space. And so currently we're really playing with like that perspective, the plans, the elements, and figuring out what our first what is available and possible for our garden, which there seems to be a lot, and then also sort of how to be social in the space, um, which let me upload the other one as well. Do 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 do. Yay! And I'm very excited. I think for is that too many? No, it's all right.
It's a demo.
Yeah, that looks nice. I'm really excited, I think, for being able to like continue playing with how we are able to like bring just different plants and trees, and especially create like interactivity is you can embed a website into the plant and make a special cayenne, which you can then go to and load the fruit trees in Toronto, right in the platform. And so I think for me, I really like this particular chat room because I also grew up in the era of like having a chat room with an avatar and talking to other people and being able to do stuff and play games in the space. And ultimately, I feel like one major aspect of this phase of the project is making the space attractive for people to be in. And I think already I'm very inspired by the rest of the garden space because it is very interactive and very like friendly. And of course, the community makes the space as well. But the ways that the space has been designed to be to like draw you in and make you really interested in like the different elements is something that I think we are all really taking note of for how we are thinking about this virtual garden, how we're thinking about building building forward. Do you want to learn?
Sapphire, can you also talk about how we got these assets of like the cayenne and the hibiscus?
Yeah, and I think we're also having conversations because one of the platforms we considered was a 3D platform, Mozilla Hubs. Um, and I don't know if we will demo that. I don't think we'll demo that. But I think there's something that I really like about the 2D platform, and I think whenever we're thinking about maybe doing some live projection, we might play with the 3D platform a bit more, where like in a 2D environment, you are able to like keep certain things, I want to say more simple, at least in terms of like navigating the space. And so in Garden, you just like move your avatar around and then you interact with the X, but that gives you so much more range of, I think, experience versus like when you are in a 3D space, moving the camera and then like navigating that 3D and then also trying to interact with elements. As like someone said earlier, that can be a bit disorienting. And so I think for me, I would like to explore 3D space in real time, like in the real world. Um, and that is, I think that's an aspect of this project I'm really looking forward to as well. Yeah, I think on that piece though, one thing that I wish Gather did was allowing you to have this world map on a phone or like a device that is not a computer. I find that feels like a bit of a limitation. You can use the app on a phone, but then you're just in the video chat element. So it's kind of like Zoom when you're on your phone, which maybe they'll build towards that. But also one thing we're exploring, this project has open source elements, and so at some point we're hoping to be able to sort of port the space beyond Gathertown and maybe play with how that can be accessible in different ways as well. I love that you're farming already. Mm. Sit beside me. Yeah, and God also has like some fun little confetti. And I think there's a dance. Is it Z? Yes, there is a dance. Yay. Okay.
What the hell? I didn't know I could do that.
I too learned this recently. It's adorable. Um, exactly, exactly. And so I will stop sharing my screen. I feel like I know how to do this. Where is the browser? There you are. And screen share. Okay. All right. What else do we have for y'all? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, thanks for everyone for coming today. You got to see the overview of of what we're working on how we're working on. We first started with like your research on like what we were doing on Arena, gathering all the information, all our ideas. Then we got to take you on a tour of the garden space on Gather, on how we decimated all of that information and compiled it into the garden space. Um, and now is basically what's next. A lot of the things that we were talking about in this presentation was like, what is the future of this project? We're going to continue building on Gather, looking at different platforms, looking into extended reality, as well as just bridging together like our virtual, our real world together. And how does that look like? You know, more documentations, more art, interviews, and archiving the space, and as well as scanning more plants to bring it into um, our virtual space. So yeah, this is a good like breaking point of like if anybody online or in person has any questions about it. Yeah.
Yeah, and also if you have any suggestions of like plants or things you would like to see in our virtual garden, I think just to that point as well, there's so much to this project just beyond the garden itself. I'm just very inspired by the ways that different folks are using the virtual world to like create a sort of third space, but then allowing that to also bring us in the real world into like a third space with each other. And even right now, all of us here on this side, and then all of y'all in your own digital spaces. I think there's something very like amazing about being able to do that collaboratively and do that together. And so we welcome all of your suggestions and thoughts. Mm. Ooh.
Calling them out.
No, because it's giving a little would like to participate. Please participate.
I didn't even know I set myself up. I didn't even know. I was trying to put laughing face, but then I put the raised hand. Such a setup. Yeah, I was just thinking about vertical gardening because I used to live in Brampton, so I used to have like a backyard, and I had a really extensive garden. But ever since I moved to Toronto, I just don't. I have like a balcony, and I have like a little patch at the front, but they don't want me to plant in the front. So I'm thinking of using the balcony to kind of plant vertically. I literally am seeding as I sit here and listen. So I'm trying to get some kale and some lettuce and stuff like that going. But yeah, I think it's really interesting. I know it's going to be a challenge, just because like I don't have that particular skill set, but I'm really excited to kind of, see what's going on. So when y'all got that information to help me out, I'm ready. I'm down.
Mm. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to have a little vertical garden.
Yeah. To see how it started. How is it made? We already said.
Oh.
Hey,
Hey.
hey. Okay, so first of all, congratulations, everybody. I'm sitting here with Hansel and Cassandra. We're in a cafe. We're listening to the discussion. We're listening to the presentation, and we love it. Um, but something that this is making me think about, and I missed a bit of I missed a bit of like the beginning. But it's making me think of this concept or this term that I came across earlier this week, that you all may know or may be familiar with, but it's this concept of like speculative, like archiving, or like
Mm.
speculative, like the speculative archive. And essentially, if I understand correctly, it's a way of exploring. It's a way of exploring discourse or the conversation around archiving that is, where our imagination is the source, right? So like thinking about like, um, what could have, right? What could have, or like what should have, or like using our intuition as the source to think about what, place and time and space. And so for me, I feel like from what I was able to gather so far, and I could be so wrong, but I feel like the work that you guys are doing feels like an extension of like speculative archiving. Um, so I'm excited about it because I think earlier, Sapphire, I heard you talking about like there's a like being able to engage with these plants digitally in a way of like archiving, and like it all feels like it's in conversation with each other, and so I wanted to mention that. um yeah, that's all.
I love the idea of speculative archiving. I think that's very much like sort of how we are approaching the idea of an archive because it's not just collecting something to put somewhere so that at some point somebody can reference it, but it is bringing something together so people can experience it now, can think about the possibilities, can let that like lead to more possibilities. Like even this idea of like someone's actual vertical garden now being able to also exist in our virtual garden and that being a bridge to like this conversation to me feels so potent and powerful. So thank you so much for that, MK. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, they're like one in the same, because this is like really a lot of native plants are pollinator plants, and like obviously they help the ecosystem that we live in and to have anything grow. Um, and so I think it's like also very important for us, like when we're building this world, to bring those plants into the virtual space we're growing, especially the native plants that are from like all the countries that we're from,
Mm.
because it does help like show and understand like how these plants are working simultaneously with others, and even on the land that we're sitting on today. So I think it's just like, yeah, it's one of those things. I think with the space is like we can bring that knowledge like virtually and very more accessible to everyone, and so much readily easily, for sure. I'm just putting everyone's business out there.
How, yeah, hey. Well, thanks for dragging me in. So the person you referred to is um, Tony. He goes by TK Ajayi. Tony. He's a Nigerian. His background, he's Nigerian, and he's been growing for over 24 years, I believe, from what he was sharing. And he's essentially the first person to grow cassava and yam, like actual yam, like West African yam, not sweet potatoes, in Canada. And he did it by, manipulating the soil. And he said spirits too. So it's a combination of spirits and the soil. And yeah, he does a lot of experimentation and researching of being able to grow crops that would usually not grow in this climate. Yeah.
Yeah, so actually, I think this is a very great and poignant story. So, I started doing some research into like Akan mediumship traditions, and I was initially very intrigued by like the origins of my name because we have day names and they're kind of connected to particular spirits, and I got to identify some of those spirits. And in that research, I discovered that the spirit of Wednesday, which it's connected to like the Christian devil, is also connected to like trees. And so, like, before that spirit was turned into the devil, it was like, you know, first name Kweku, middle name Dia, and then I think in some iterations, Kweku Bonsam. And last year, that was something that I was sort of playing with in the theater. And I think since then, I've just been really meditating on like that particular day is also connected to the storytelling spirit. And so there's a lot of like that kind of demonization of nature almost that is inherent in that experience. And like, if you go to Ghana now, there's a lot of environmental issues happening because of people trying to do a lot of mining, which is really hurting the local ecology. And I think that like the ways that folks on the continent spend like before a lot of the colonial extraction was like normalized, there was a lot of mediumship through like the local, like the forests, the rivers having spirits in them, and those spirits kind of being able to speak for themselves. But now a tree is just a tree. Sometimes I think for a lot of people there's still some type of fear around you can't cut down particular trees because that tree might have a spirit in it and that spirit would curse you. But I think there's a lot of ways that that is being eroded. And I think for me, those spirits are still alive. And, when we look at the climate crises and everything that's happening, for me, that's kind of evident in that like disregard for the natural world. And so there's something so potent about like bringing that reverence back into the way that we think about and understand and hold things that are not other people, um and even other people as well. Like I think even our reverence for each other is kind of disregarded these days. And so I find that like all of those different elements are very, very necessary for like thinking about how we how we hold a garden, how we hold our connection to the land.
Mhm. Right now, no, because honestly, that was a bar, like to be said. And yeah, the spirits are among us, and the spirits are among the land that we work with, and we connect with them very deeply. And yeah, that connection has been tried to be forced to be severed from us, but we always have to come back and make sure. Um, yeah, and sometimes just look up at the moon, you know, and connect with that spirit, connect with the water, connect with the soil that like touches your feet. And yeah, I'm trying to bring that into a virtual space in which people can learn and feel that connection is very much important.
You folk know how to get in touch with us. Hmm. Instagram?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is this the correct way to format an Instagram link?
Yeah, it is.
Let's
No, it's not right now. It's just like
Okay.
yeah, and it links it direct.
Instagram.com/
It's like from Anélia Victor.
no no dot.
No.
Okay. Let's see if this works. Yes, it does. Amazing. Wow. Technology. We love. Does this work? Yes, it does. How about you, Sapphire?
Yeah.
Mm. You can do it too now.
No.
No, you need patience.
It works. Finally. Yeah. There you go.
Yay. Ooh, can we have a double heart?
It's not gonna work for Sapphire.
Oh, dang. Oh, who's gonna choose
Congratulations,
this?
everyone. Thank
Oh,
you.
thank
Take care.
you. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Woo. And thank you, everybody here as well. We did not forget you. Yeah. Ooh. Oh, where did Khalid go?
Do it.
Oh, my photographer friend. Can you disappear? What? Oh, okay. Um, Also, we had a photographer in space, and so if you don't want your photograph taken, just let me know, and I'll let the photographer know. Yeah. Awesome. Woo! We did it,
That's you
guys.
too.
Ooh, now I want to throw some more stuff into a garden. The benches were such a great idea. Yeah.
How did you do that?
Izzy.
Oh.
Yeah, and then F gives you confetti.
Oh, what the hell?
I mean, I'm already dancing, so, but if I move, it stops the dancing, and then, woo.
And you can keep getting fit. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
And then you can also high five people. Like if there's somebody else, yeah. So if you're facing somebody and then you hit the high five, it gives you a little high five slap.